Hey there, I'm Stefanie Flaxman. I've been a writer and editor for 20 years, and I have more than 200 videos on YouTube that help you live and work like a writer. That is a lot of videos, so let me curate my best advice for you. You can now sign up for free exclusive updates at stefanieflaxman.com. I'll send you my top tips for new writers, plus other advice that works best in email rather than audio or video. It would be my pleasure to meet you at your inbox as your new writer consultant. Ready to join the club? Go to stefanieflaxman.com to sign up for free. And remember, I spell Stephanie with an F, not a PH. The proper spelling is on your screen right now. That is stefanieflaxman.com. I will see you there. Getting your first client, how to get your first client when you are a new writer, is the most asked question that I get. Most frequently asked question. I think I feel comfortable saying that. It's definitely up there in the top 5, if not the most. But it is so common that I'm going to commit to it. I'm going to confidently say that how to get your first client as a new writer is the biggest, most pressing question that I get from new writers. And I have some guidance to help you out today, because the main thing that happens when you're a new writer and that you have this question, or why this question comes up, is that in order to get a writing job, you need writing samples. When you apply for a writing job, they're going to ask for samples of your work to get a sense of your writing style. So that's great. If you've already been working as a writer, you probably do have samples. But if you are a new writer, you don't have samples. So if you want to get work, but you need samples, you don't have samples because you never worked before. It is a bit of a circular problem, or a catch-22, or whatever that is called, where it's a chicken or an egg situation. No, I wouldn't go so far to make that comparison. But you need to cut through, I'm going to go with it's a circular problem. You need to cut through the circular problem, and as a new writer, confidently have writing samples, even if you've never written for a publication before. So how do you do that? The big secret, my favorite secret, I say that a lot. I have a lot of favorites, but the trick or the secret that all working writers know that when they first got started, they were their own first client. I was my own first writing client. If you go back far enough, it doesn't seem that way now because it's been such a long time, but I was my first client, and you could be your first client too. That is how you stop the circular problem, and you have great writing samples to present when you apply for a writing job. You become your first client. How do you do that? And why would you want to do that? Well, you want to do that because when you create your own writing assignments for yourself, you get in the mindset of what being a working writer is like. And it's not just about mindset here. You physically will produce what you need to start getting writing jobs. So if you want to do a certain type of writing, you have to assign yourself that type of writing first. And if you do this through creating a blog, which is probably the best way to do this, you not only will have writing samples, you will demonstrate your commitment to writing. You'll show that you can meet deadlines. You'll show that you can stick to a publishing schedule. And if you consistently write on a blog, if you write articles for your own blog, and you treat that blog as your first client, even though that client is yourself, you have a lot to show in terms of your professionalism and your dedication to writing, and that you can follow through with a writing project, because people who are looking to hire writers don't just need brilliant words. They need someone who's going to do what they say they're going to do, and they need to hire someone that they can rely on and that is dependable. And in the freelance world, which has grown so much more from when I started, but even a long time ago, finding reliable, dependable freelancers to do work for you, especially writing work, was hard to find. So as much as possible, you want to demonstrate not just that you're a good writer, you want to demonstrate that you can be their go-to person and you are going to do what you say you're going to do, which is usually meet the deadline that they provide for you. So I want to show an example of what this actually looks like, because I think it could be, the way that I described it could just be a little too general if we don't look at a specific example. And I think the most obvious example that I can use is my own experience, but I'm not going to stop there because you'll see why quickly. My own experience is too related to the writing and editing field. I write about writing. It's kind of unusual. Most people who want to get writing work aren't necessarily writing about writing. So my expertise is editing. So when I became my first client and I started a blog, my blog was about writing tips. I wrote about writing and editing because that was my expertise. I treated myself like my own client, and I assigned myself articles about writing and editing that I would have liked to get from a different publication that was assigning me articles. So instead of waiting for an editor to say, hey, can you write your 10 best copy editing tips for me? I assigned that to myself, and I started posting articles regularly with that type of content. So this is pretty important, because this is what it comes down to. I didn't wait for an editor to assign me the type of writing assignment that I wanted. I assigned it to myself and started publishing it on my own website. Or I published it on my own website and then continued to consistently produce that type of content. Now, I want to get out of the writing and editing space because my situation, my business is a little bit unusual from what you might be doing. So let's take the example of a gardener. I'm fascinated with gardeners because I just love landscaping and lawn care. And I think, having a green thumb and what they know how to do to produce beautiful greenery and plants and everything. I just think it's gorgeous. I admire landscaping. So let's say you're a gardener and you would like to start writing about gardening. As I just explained, gardeners have a lot of expertise. They have a lot of experience in their field. They are a subject matter expert on gardening. So naturally, a subject matter expert on gardening might want to get writing work sharing their expertise. There might be a specific magazine that they want to write for. They might want to eventually write a book. They want to establish a writing career based around the expertise that they have cultivated over time. So using the process that I just explained, this is what I would recommend the gardener would do. Instead of applying to jobs at their favorite lawn care magazine, let's call it lawn care magazine. If they apply for a job and they don't have any writing samples, it's not going to move as quickly as they like. They might have some faith, the editor at Lawn Care Magazine might have some faith if the gardener can prove that they have, really special experience. So let's just forget about that right now. Let's say that the problem is that that there aren't any extenuating circumstances about this excellent gardener. Let's just say they need writing samples and they don't have them. So here's what the gardener would do. They would take the exact article that they want to write for Lawn Care Magazine. And instead of the editor at Lawn Care Magazine assigning it to them, they would write the article themselves and they would publish it on their own website, on their blog. And they wouldn't just stop there. They would write the first article, And then regularly they would keep updating their blog with their favorite lawn care tips, because then they're creating a portfolio of their work. So when they start looking for jobs that they're a good fit for, when they apply, they can show the editor or the hiring manager, look, I run a blog on this subject matter. I am the perfect fit for who you want to hire. If they didn't do all that work, if they didn't take themselves on as their own client, they wouldn't have that body of work to demonstrate that they have what it takes to be the perfect writer that lawn care magazine is looking for. So they by doing that, they've demonstrated everything I was talking about. That shows that they can commit to a writing project. It shows that they can stick to a publishing schedule. It shows that they can meet their own deadlines. So they're going to increase their level of credibility, which increases the chances that the editor at Lawn Care Magazine is saying, hey, you're exactly what we're looking for, because I can tell from your own website. And I think a really important bonus to mention here, a bonus tip for this week, is that once you've done that and you have writing samples on your own website and you have your own blog, you need to make it clear on your website that you are a writer for hire. This is something that is often overlooked with new writers when they start creating blogs. They forget to put in a very visible place that someone can hire them for writing work. And the reason why it's so important is because with your own blog, you're not only building a portfolio that you can use for writing samples when you apply for writing jobs, you're also going to start getting search engine traffic. Even if you know nothing about SEO, you could start getting traffic, and hopefully you do also learn about SEO as you build your blog and you optimize what you're writing so that people who are interested in what you're talking about can easily find you. So when people find your website, because now you're going to have your own website, you want to make it really clear that they can hire you if they think that you are exactly what they're looking for. Don't hide that you're a hireable writer. So that is it for today. If you want exclusive tips that I only share in email, go on over to stefanieflaxman.com and sign up for free. I will see you there and talk with you soon.